May 3, 1969. Hawaii. The warm Pacific breeze carried the scent of plumeria blossoms through the open windows of a small chapel overlooking Waikiki Beach. Goldie Hawn stood in a simple white dress, her blonde hair catching the golden afternoon light, her heart racing with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. At 23 years old, she was about to marry Gus Triconis, a dancer she had met during rehearsals, a man she believed she would spend forever with. The moment she had seen him, something inside her had whispered that he was the one. She wanted to believe in that voice, to trust that this was the beginning of her happily ever after. But as the ocean waves crashed against the shore below, she couldn't have known that this marriage would be the first of many lessons about love, about loss, and about what it truly means to find someone who sees you completely. Goldie Jean Hawn had been born to perform. From the moment she took her first breath in Washington, D.C., she carried within her a spark that would eventually light up stages and screens across America. Her mother Laura managed a jewelry shop and ran a dance school, while her father Edward, a musician and conductor with German and English roots, filled their home with melodies and rhythms. Edward came from distinguished lineage, descended from Edward Rutledge, the youngest signatory of the Declaration of Independence. Laura's family had journeyed from Hungary, bringing with them the traditions and faith that would shape Goldie's childhood in their Jewish household in Tacoma Park, Maryland. Alongside her sister Patty, Goldie grew up surrounded by music, movement, and an unspoken family sorrow. The girls never knew about their brother, Edward Jr., who had died as an infant before Patty was born, a loss their parents carried in quiet grief. At 3 years old, Goldie's feet found their purpose on the dance floor. Ballet and tap became her languages, her tiny body expressing what words could not. By age 10, she was already performing with the ballet Ruse de Monte Carlo in the Nutcracker, her natural talent undeniable to everyone who watched her move. The stage felt like home, like the one place where everything made sense. By 1964, she had dropped out of college drama studies to chase her dreams with both hands. She ran her own ballet school, performed in Romeo and Juliet, and made her professional dancing debut at the Texas Pavilion of the New York World's Fair in a production of Canaan. The world was opening up before her, vast and full of possibility. She danced in go-go clubs across New York and New Jersey, her energy infectious, her smile capable of transforming any room she entered. Hollywood was watching, and it wouldn't be long before it came calling. Television changed everything in 1968. Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In gave Goldie her first taste of real fame, her bubbly personality and infectious laughter making her an instant audience favorite. America fell in love with the blonde dancer who could deliver silly jokes with such genuine joy that you couldn't help but smile along with her. That same year brought a small film role in the one and only, genuine, original Family Band. But it was Cactus Flower in 1969 that transformed her from television personality to movie star. When she won both an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress, the industry realized that Goldie Hawn wasn't just a pretty face or a comedic talent. She was an artist, capable of depth and nuance that would carry her through decades of memorable performances. There's a Girl in My Soup, Butterflies Are Free, The Sugarland Express, Shampoo, Foul Play, and Seems Like Old Times followed in rapid succession. Then came Private Benjamin, which earned her a second Oscar nomination, this time for Best Actress, cementing her place among Hollywood's elite. But success came with complications. As Goldie's star rose higher and higher, Gus struggled to find his footing in an industry that seemed to have room for only one rising star in their marriage. Their lives, once intertwined by shared dreams of performing, began moving in opposite directions. She was being offered roles, attending premieres, meeting with producers and directors. He was auditioning, waiting, watching his wife become someone the whole world wanted a piece of. The distance between them grew not in miles, but in unspoken resentments and diverging paths. By 1973, they had separated, though Goldie didn't file for divorce until New Year's Eve of 1975. By then, she had already met someone new, already said yes to another engagement, already convinced herself that perhaps this time would be different. July 3, 1976. Washington, D.C. The summer heat pressed down on Goldie's hometown as she prepared to walk down the aisle for the second time. Bill Hudson, musician and actor with the Hudson Brothers Band, stood waiting with a smile that masked the doubts already churning in his mind. They had met on a first-class flight from New York to Los Angeles, their connection instant and electric. Everything had moved so fast between them. Too fast perhaps, but Goldie had wanted to believe in second chances, in the possibility that love could work if you just tried hard enough. As she approached him in her wedding dress, she leaned close and whispered a question that would haunt them both for years to come. "Are you sure we did the right thing?" Bill froze. In that moment, on what should have been the happiest day of their lives, a crack appeared in the foundation of their marriage, one that would eventually split wide open. Their children came quickly. Oliver arrived first, then Kate, both beautiful and bright and full of potential. Bill wanted a traditional family, wanted commitment and closeness, and a wife who would be satisfied with the life he envisioned. But Goldie, according to Bill's later recollections, wanted something else entirely. She wanted freedom, wanted to define marriage on her own terms, wanted to pursue her career without apology or constraint. He claimed she believed in open marriage, a concept he said he never agreed to, never wanted, never understood. She disagreed with his version of events, their memories of the same marriage diverging like parallel lines that had once intersected but now moved further apart with each passing day. By 1980, Bill filed for divorce, and the battle that followed was bitter and public and painful for everyone involved. The years after her second divorce were marked by criticism from both of her ex-husbands, men who painted her in harsh colors to anyone who would listen. Gus claimed that fame had changed her, that success had pulled her away from the woman he had married. He spoke of her spending time with Barbra Streisand and Jack Nicholson, of behavior he described as wild and weird, of a person he no longer recognized. Bill's words cut even deeper. He called her manipulative, cruel, and selfish, accused her of presenting a false image to the public while behaving differently behind closed doors. Most painfully, he felt pushed out of his children's lives, denied the chance to be the father he had desperately wanted to be. The wounds from that time stayed raw for decades, festering in interviews and public statements that painted Goldie as Hollywood's golden girl on screen, but something much darker in private. She heard the accusations, felt the weight of their anger, but she kept moving forward because that was what she had always done. She raised Oliver and Kate with fierce devotion, poured her heart into her foundation work, and eventually, slowly, began to believe that perhaps love wasn't something that happened through marriage certificates and legal documents. Perhaps it was something else entirely. March 15, 1966. Los Angeles. On the set of the one and only, genuine, original Family Band, 21-year-old Goldie Hawn noticed a teenage boy with sandy hair and an easy smile. Kurt Russell was only 16, young, and already working in Hollywood with a confidence that belied his years. She thought he was adorable, sweet in a way that made her smile, but nothing happened between them. They were in different places in their lives, and besides, neither of them wanted to date other actors. It was a principle they both held firmly, a line they refused to cross. So the moment passed, becoming just another memory filed away among thousands of others from long days on film sets. What neither of them could have possibly known was that 17 years later, that memory would resurface, and this time, everything would be different. April 1983. Hollywood. Kurt Russell walked into an audition for Swing Shift feeling rough around the edges. The night before had been long, and now he was hungover, nervous, completely unprepared for the moment Goldie Hawn walked through the door. Time seemed to stop as recognition flickered between them. She looked incredible, and before his brain could stop his mouth, the words tumbled out unfiltered and completely inappropriate. "Man, you got a great figure." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. He had just potentially destroyed his chances at the role and made a complete fool of himself in front of a woman he had known years ago. But then Goldie smiled, genuinely amused rather than offended, and replied, "Why? Thank you." That moment broke something open between them, some invisible barrier that had kept them apart for nearly 2 decades. Their first date was anything but conventional. They started the evening at the Playboy Club, dancing to swing music, their bodies finding an easy rhythm together. Later, they drove to a house Goldie had just purchased, a place she was excited to show him even though she didn't yet have the keys. Breaking into her own home seemed like a perfectly reasonable idea after a few drinks, and with the chemistry crackling between them like electricity. They wandered through empty rooms, their voices echoing off bare walls, until they found themselves in what would become the bedroom. The imaginary space became very real very quickly, their laughter fading into something more intense, more meaningful. Then flashlights cut through the darkness and police voices called out, forcing them to explain the absurd situation of breaking into a home one of them actually owned. They finished the night at a hotel, and Kurt would later describe it simply as a lot of fun, though his eyes always suggested it was so much more than that. As filming progressed on Swing Shift, Goldie found herself paying attention to Kurt in ways she hadn't expected. Yes, he was handsome, devastatingly so, with that classic American charm that made cameras love him. Yes, he was funny and honest and refreshingly without pretense in an industry built almost entirely on image and illusion. But what truly captured her heart, what made her realize this might be something real, was watching him with her children. Oliver and Kate would sometimes visit the set, and Goldie observed carefully how Kurt interacted with them. He was natural, patient, genuinely interested in what they had to say. He didn't treat them like obligations or obstacles to overcome in order to be with their mother. He treated them like people, small humans worthy of respect and attention and care. That's when Goldie knew. This wasn't just a romance. This was the foundation of something that could last. In 1986, 3 years after their first date, Goldie and Kurt welcomed their son Wyatt Russell into the world. He joined a blended family that already included Oliver, Kate, and Kurt's son Boston from his previous marriage. The household was full and chaotic and bursting with the kind of love that doesn't come from legal documents, but from daily choices to show up for each other. They never got married, never felt the pressure to make their commitment official in the eyes of the law or the church or society. When Goldie posted a birthday message to Kurt in 2021, her words captured everything essential about their relationship. She called him wild and brilliant, lovable and childlike, perfectly maddening and deeply funny. She said she couldn't imagine her life without him at any age, that he was the catch and he was all hers. No piece of paper had ever been necessary to make those feelings real. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable in Overboard, the 1987 comedy that became one of their most beloved films. Goldie played a spoiled heiress who loses her memory after falling off her yacht, and Kurt's character, a struggling carpenter she had mistreated, decides to convince her that she's his wife. The role reversal, the comedy, the gradual transformation of animosity into genuine affection all mirrored something true about their real relationship. They worked beautifully together, their timing impeccable, their connection palpable in every frame. When they stumbled across the movie playing on television years later in 2020, they sat down and watched it together, smiling at the memories of making it, of being young and in love and building something neither of them had quite believed was possible. February 25, 1989. Los Angeles. The Academy Awards stage lights were bright and hot as Goldie and Kurt walked out together to present an award. The audience's applause washed over them like a wave, and Goldie took the microphone with a smile. "We fit in completely to the theme of the show because we're co-stars, we're compadres, we're companions, and we're a couple," she said, her voice warm with affection. Kurt looked at her with that familiar mischievous glint in his eye and added, "There's only one thing. We're not married." The crowd erupted in laughter and cheers. Goldie played along perfectly, asking with mock seriousness, "Is that a proposal?" His response was quintessentially Kurt, casual and sweet, and just ambiguous enough to keep everyone guessing. "Listen, we'll talk about it later tonight." She winked at the audience and replied, "We will talk about that later." It was a moment that captured everything about them. Playful, genuine, committed without needing conventional validation. The years rolled forward, bringing more films, more family moments, more reasons to choose each other day after day. In 1996, they attended the premiere of The First Wives Club together, Kurt standing proudly beside Goldie as she celebrated another hit alongside Diane Keaton and Bette Midler. Their children accompanied them, turning the event into a family affair, cameras capturing a clan that had been built on love rather than legal obligation. They became grandparents eventually, 7 grandchildren in total, each one cherished and celebrated and welcomed into the sprawling, unconventional family unit that Goldie and Kurt had created. Through it all, the question persisted: why didn't they ever get married? Kurt addressed it directly in a 2023 interview with Variety, his frustration with the question evident even decades after people first started asking. When they got together, everyone wanted to know when the wedding would be, why they weren't making it official, as if their relationship was somehow incomplete without a ceremony. Why does anybody care about that? He said, the bewilderment still genuine after all these years. They had even asked their children what they thought, and the kids didn't care either. What mattered was the love, the presence, the daily choice to be together. Everything else was just noise. Goldie expanded on this in a July 2023 interview with CNN's Chris Wallace, explaining that divorce was one of her main reasons for avoiding marriage. "It's always ugly," she said bluntly. She asked rhetorical questions that anyone who had been through a divorce would recognize. How many divorces don't cost money? How many divorces haven't hurt children? Then she said something profound that cut to the heart of her philosophy. "I like the idea that I can wake up in the morning and make decisions every day if I want to be here." For Goldie, staying by choice was infinitely more powerful than staying by legal obligation. It was about real commitment, the kind that came from the heart rather than from paperwork signed in front of witnesses. Their life together wasn't without challenges. In December 2023, they vacationed in Aspen, Colorado, bundled in winter gear, holding hands as they walked through snow-covered streets, stealing kisses when they thought no one was watching. They looked happy, relaxed, completely comfortable in the life they had built. But just weeks later, Goldie revealed something that had shaken them both deeply. Their Los Angeles home had been burglarized twice, and the second time, she had been inside. She described returning from dinner to find her closet doors smashed open, her valuables stolen by what she believed were highly skilled thieves who had entered through the bedroom balcony. The violation of her safe space, the place where she should have felt most protected, left her devastated. Then, just 4 months later, she heard a loud thump upstairs while home alone. At first, she tried to rationalize it, to convince herself it was something innocent, but the next day they discovered evidence of another attempted break-in. This time, someone had tried to enter while she was inside, alone and vulnerable. The incidents changed how they lived. They hired personal guards, increased security measures, and eventually made the difficult decision to leave their Malibu home entirely. They moved to Palm Desert, 2.5 hours inland, putting distance between themselves and the life they had known for decades. It meant living further from their children, particularly Kate, who had taken over the childhood home where she and her siblings had been raised. Kate later described their family as codependent in the best way, everyone different but united by a shared life force, an energy that made them want to enjoy every moment together. The move to Palm Desert was a sacrifice, but safety had become non-negotiable, and as always, Goldie and Kurt adapted, making new memories in a new place while holding onto everything that truly mattered. April 2024, Los Angeles. Sitting in a recording studio for Conan O'Brien's podcast, Goldie finally put into words what made Kurt Russell different from every other man she had known. It wasn't his looks, though she readily admitted he was handsome. It wasn't his charm or his career or the way he made her laugh, though all of those things mattered. It was something deeper, something that touched the core of who she was. It wasn't just because he was handsome and all of those things you get turned on by, she explained, her voice carrying the weight of decades of experience. It was because he matched my devotion to children to be number one. Family was everything to Goldie. It always had been, from the moment she became a mother and felt the fierce protective love that transforms every priority, every decision, every dream. When she saw that Kurt shared that devotion, when she watched him put children first without hesitation or resentment, she knew he was someone she could build a life with. He wasn't just a partner in romance. He was a partner in the most important work of her life, raising good humans. But Goldie was also refreshingly honest about the realities of long-term relationships. In September 2024, she spoke to E! News about the importance of physical intimacy, not shying away from a topic many people treat as taboo. You have to have good sex, she said plainly. She explained that intimacy creates connection, deepens belonging, and that people in healthy sexual relationships tend to stay together longer. She added with a laugh that you also have to be nice to each other occasionally. acknowledging that even great relationships require kindness and patience. She spoke candidly about the challenges of monogamy, especially in Hollywood where attractive people surround you constantly and temptation is never far away. You're in the prime of your life. You are attracted to other people potentially, she admitted. But attraction doesn't equal action. She and Kurt talked openly about these realities, acknowledging that finding others attractive is normal, human, inevitable. What matters is what you do with those feelings, how you honor the commitment you've made to your partner. She described their relationship as having elasticity, the ability to bend without breaking, to stretch while maintaining its fundamental shape and strength. March 2, 2025. Los Angeles. The Oscars' red carpet stretched before them like a river of light and cameras and shouted questions. Goldie wore a stunning yellow gown by Dolce & Gabbana, the bright color reflecting her personality, her refusal to fade into the background even at 79 years old. Kurt stood beside her in a classic black tuxedo, his hand resting comfortably on her back, his smile genuine rather than performative. They had been together for over 41 years at this point, longer than many marriages, longer than most Hollywood relationships lasted by decades. The cameras loved them, the crowd cheered for them, but the real story wasn't the glamour or the designer clothes. It was the way they looked at each other, still, after all this time. The way his eyes found hers in a crowded room. The way her hands sought his without conscious thought. The way they moved together like dancers who had been partners for so long they no longer needed to count the steps. When asked about their longevity, Kurt's answer was characteristically simple and profound. I just love the fact that we met and we are still doing it. We still like being together. No grand declarations, no poetic metaphors, just the honest truth that they enjoyed each other's company. That after 4 decades, they still wanted to wake up next to each other, still chose each other over solitude or other options, still found joy in the simple act of being in the same room. They had faced everything together. The judgment about not getting married, the criticism from ex-spouses, the challenges of blending families, the career pressures, the burglaries that forced them from their home, the natural difficulties that come with any long-term relationship. None of it had broken them. If anything, it had made them stronger, more certain that what they had was worth protecting. May 17, 2017. Hollywood. The Hollywood Walk of Fame stretched out before them, each star embedded in the sidewalk representing someone who had left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry. Today, 2 new stars were being unveiled, placed side by side in a deliberate acknowledgement that these 2 people belonged together, their names forever linked in stone just as their lives had been linked for over 3 decades. Goldie stood beside Kurt, dressed elegantly, her eyes bright with unshed tears as he took the microphone. She had expected a simple ceremony, some nice words, the usual Hollywood pomp and circumstance. What she got instead was something that broke her heart open in the most beautiful way possible. Kurt looked at her, and suddenly the crowd of onlookers and photographers and industry executives faded away. It was just the 2 of them, the way it had been that first night at the Playboy Club, the way it had been when they broke into her house and ended up at a hotel, the way it had been for thousands of quiet mornings and chaotic family dinners and movie sets and lazy Sundays. To you, I owe my wonderful life, he said, his voice steady but full of emotion. Simply put, Goldie, I cherish you. All the stars in the sky or on the boulevard can't hold a candle to that. He paused, letting the words settle over her, over everyone watching. Then he finished with the truest thing he could say. There's no one else I'd rather be next to for all of that than Goldie Hawn. They kissed beside their side-by-side stars, and if you looked closely, you could see that Goldie was crying, overwhelmed by the public declaration of something she had always known privately, but never heard expressed quite like that. Later, she told People magazine that she hadn't expected him to say those things, had no idea he was going to be so beautiful. It turned out to be a love fest, she said, still sounding surprised by the depth of emotion that had poured out that day. She talked about why their relationship had lasted, boiling it down to essentials: love, gratitude, compassion. Because sometimes every man or woman will drive their partner crazy. She added with the wisdom of someone who had lived through the hard parts and come out the other side still holding hands. Their story wasn't about perfect romance or fairy tale endings. It was about 2 people who met at the wrong time, found each other again at the right time, and built something extraordinary not through legal contracts, but through daily choices. It was about a woman who had been through 2 failed marriages and enough heartbreak to make her wary of ever trying again, meeting a man who showed her that partnership could look different from anything she had experienced before. It was about blending families and raising children and becoming grandparents and surviving burglaries and moving homes and weathering every storm Hollywood could throw at them. It was about physical intimacy and emotional honesty and the elasticity required to stay together for decades. It was about waking up each morning and choosing to be there, choosing to stay, choosing to love even when it would be easier to walk away. At 79 years old, Goldie Hawn finally understood what had made Kurt Russell different from everyone else. It wasn't just one thing. It was everything. It was the way he saw her completely, not as a movie star or a sex symbol or a mother or any single role, but as a whole, complicated, beautiful person worthy of devotion. It was the way he prioritized the same things she did, putting family first without being asked or reminded. It was the way he made her laugh and the way he held her at night, and the way he built a fireplace with stones arranged to represent each member of their family. It was the way he stood beside her at premieres and on red carpets and in hospitals and during home invasions and through every single day of their 41 years together. It was the way he cherished her, publicly and privately, with grand gestures and quiet moments, with words and with silence. He was the only one who could do that to her, the only one who could make her feel completely seen and completely safe and completely loved all at once. Not because he was perfect, but because he was perfectly right for her. And that, more than any wedding ceremony or legal document or public declaration, was what made their love story one worth telling.